I'll talk about figured bass in this one, figured bass of triads and seventh chords. So when you're in root position, if we count bottom to top, bottom to middle, just like counting intervals, except we don't even need to do quality, just number only. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. That's root position, a fifth and a third. The 5 and the 3, we don't write them because we don't need to. We just keep them invisible, okay? It would be redundant to write them. So we think of them as imaginary. 5, 3, above a root. The root is on the bottom because they're equally spaced. That's a G chord, so the root is G. Root, third, fifth. First inversion, look what happened. The octave went up, the root went up an octave. That's still the root. Notice how the root is above the bigger space. The fifth is here, the root's all the way up there. The third is in the bass. And you see the number 6 here. Watch this. Watch how I count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 1, 2, 3. The 3 here is invisible. A sixth and a third above a note creates a first inversion triad, or 3-note chord. See? Now I invert it again. The bottom note jumps up the octave, and I get a sixth and a fourth, and that's second inversion. There is no third inversion because it would go back to root position again once that fifth jumps up. Notice how the root's on the bottom, then the third is on the bottom, then the fifth is on the bottom. The chord essentially gets more unstable emotionally. Now we're up to seventh chord figure bass. I here have a G7 here, a major chord with a minor seventh above G. And if I count this, I'm going to get 3 numbers total. A seventh, a fifth, and a third if I count from here. 1, 2, 3. See? The 5, 3 are invisible. Now I let that bottom note jump up the octave. Notice how the root sticks out. Third, fifth, seventh, and root. And that's a sixth, a fifth, and a third. The 3 is invisible there. They wrote the 5 because otherwise it would be this, and you'd confuse it with that one. First inversion of a seventh chord is 6, 5. Second inversion, we took the bottom note, the third, and jumped it up the octave. The B jumped up in this case. I'm in bass clef. And there it is. It's a sixth, a fourth, and a third. 6, 4, 3. The 6 is invisible. And then the fifth jumps up the octave. The D jumps up. And now the seventh is in the bass. We got a sixth, 4, 2. And the 6 there is also invisible. So if you remember 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 2. Root position, first inversion, second inversion, third inversion. Who are the bass notes? Root, third, fifth, and seventh. And notice how when they're equally spaced, the root's on the bottom. When they're not, and it's a 4-note chord, the 2 notes are close together. The root's on top of the 2 guys that are next to each other. In 3-note chords or triads, the root, of course, the same. When they're equally spaced, every other note, the root's on the bottom. But when they're not, the root's on top of the bigger space. The root and the fifth have distance between each other. I'll fill in the roots here so you can see it. There's the summary of the page if you want to pause there and look at it and try to figure it all out. Okay.